termites, it's Tuesday, and you know what that means? That means the pub is open. What are we drinking today? Today's another cheap Pinot Noir. I know I should probably get off that, but I don't know, it's kind of rainy. It's a cozy day. It's not really a beer day. It's not a margarita day. It's almost a JMO day, but it's too early. Erath, less than 20 bucks. A light Pinot, guaranteed no hangover. Well, I mean, you can't drink bottles of it, but, you know, a little bit. Look who's behind me. Who's that? Over my right shoulder. For those of you listening at home, you can't see it. But the grand termite, Mr. Ron White, a.k.a. by some of the Guatemalans, Grande Rubio. Ron White was here for a little bit, and he brought me for a collection of powerful, successful women, the one and only Tanya Tucker. Now, for those of you who see on my YouTube channel, Storytime, that's where I'm reading her autobiography out loud. Well, I'm almost done. Yeah, I am done. Well, there's one more. And then we're going to move on to Loretta Lynn. But, yeah, that's a really good cardboard. Doesn't she look nice? Yeah. Right next to, and she's taller than Dolly. I think that's life size also. Still the tallest one in the room, the mouthiest one in the room. Cher, El Shero. And Stevie, we have another announcement from Stevie. Just when I tell you these women don't usually say stuff, now they're all going bananas on everything. Not in a bad way, just a little bananas. But we like to start the show with a Dolly Parton quote. This is one on beauty. Someone once asked me, "How long does it take to do your hair?" And I said, "I don't know. I'm never there." Because she wears wigs and she loves to talk about it. That's kind of an old school thing. I wouldn't even think of a wig. I wouldn't think, yeah, gosh, my hair's not that hard to do, really. Well, clearly too hard to do it for this shit. But that's not because I don't love you guys. It's just because, you know, I'm not going out tonight, so I'm not going to do that. But I don't know, I've never even tried a wig on. Not even for fun. I don't even know where you would do that. A wig shop? Where do you go for that? Nordstrom? Do they have wigs? I've got so much stuff to talk about today, you guys. Sometimes it's hard to come up with a whole lot of things that interest me in a week, and then other weeks it's just an overwhelming amount of stuff where I just go, what the fuck happened there? And I think it's things that are not necessarily mainstream. Some of them are, but some are just weird. Usually I start out with a fast food thing that I have found, and I'm going to admit, oh shoot, I don't even have my phone on. I didn't find this. Again, my friend Kelly MacFarland, comedian, very funny. Get her a CD wherever you get CDs these days, iTunes, wherever. I said that I went to Love's to get a breakfast taco, which is supposed to be available at any time of day or night, and they're half price after breakfast, which is even better. And they were out, and I was so disappointed. And then she texted me, well, you should have these in your freezer. And it's the Jimmy Dean sausage egg roll-up. So if you want to look for those in your freezer section, you know, it might take 5 years off your life, but it's going to be great, especially if you're hungover. Now, this is kind of what I like to call road food, not junk food. But as a person who's been on the road for 30 years, me and all the other comedians always talk about where we eat on the road. Ruby Tuesday files for bankruptcy as it strives to recover from COVID-19 impact. Now, I think this headline should say, Ruby Tuesday files for bankruptcy as it strives to recover from its hamburgers. I don't know if you've ever had a burger at Ruby Tuesday. I'm not picky. I like Applebee's. Yes, I'm having fun in the neighborhood. Have you ever seen those cream drinks? I couldn't ever drink one. They're probably 7,000 calories, but people seem to. I love Red Lobster. Just the biscuits alone. You can make those at home. Did you know that? Sent some of those to another comic. He made them. He was so happy. I like Longhorn. A little upscale there. I just went a little classy on you guys. Longhorn. Their salads are great. So are their steaks. Although I did go with my mom and dad around Christmas and it wasn't that good that time. But Ruby Tuesday, I'd even go to a Fridays before I'd go to a Ruby Tuesday. And I don't know if you've been in a Fridays lately, but nothing's changed since 1991. Same menu, same decor. And there's a few less staff people, if you can even find it Fridays. They're not easy to find. The casual dining chain says it's pursuing a comprehensive and financial operational restructuring amid reduced capacity, company's current debt, and enhancing operations to continue to serve guests in the future. I mean, I don't know who's going. I like Red Lobster so much, I almost went one time in New York City in Times Square, and then Lou basically punched me in the face and said I wasn't allowed to go to Red Lobster in New York City where there's a million good restaurants. I'm like, yeah, but have you had the flounder? Huh, Lou? Have you? How about their sides? He used to take my grandpa there all the time for lunch. And then this guy, this guy thought he was so clever. This is what one of their corporate CEOs came up. This announcement does not mean goodbye Ruby Tuesday. Get it? Good. And they're going to still honor their gift cards. The quote, so connected rewards. It will continue to be valid. I mean, sorry, I'm not picky. I'll eat anything. Give me a cheeseburger, salad, something. It's just, they just can't get it together as far as I'm concerned. And if anybody works there, I'm sorry that I gave it a shitty Yelp out loud review. But speaking of updates, our one and only Stevie, what am I holding up? The Stevie Nicks article. Stevie is losing her shit again about you people who won't wear masks. Because Stevie's 72 years old. This person interviewed her, and this is what he or she says. I don't know. It's Saturday at 9:30 p.m. and Stevie Nicks is singing on the phone. Okay. That's when you know you've hit gold in an interview. When you pick it up and you say hello and Stevie starts singing. She's really upset. She has a new song. You can go listen to it anywhere. Just one song. It's not an album. It's called Show Them the Way. I can do a little bit of it. Show them the way. Please, God, show them the way. That's it. And I can sound enough like her from having smoked my entire life. Not anymore, but I did. This is what Stevie has to say. If anybody cares about Stevie, let's just remember, she's 72 years old. The pandemic is more than just a pandemic for me. This is stealing what I consider to be my last youthful years. Well, I'm certainly glad to hear that she thinks the 70s are the last of the youthful ones, because if that's true, then I'm actually a toddler. I just don't have years to hang around and wait for this thing to go away. I have places to go, people to sing for, another album to make. With every day that goes by, it's like taking time away from me. That's the hardest thing. I have a lot of friends that are 60 and they're going, oh, I'm so old, I'm 60. I'm like, you know what? The violins of the world are playing for you. You're really going to appreciate 60 when you turn 72. Doesn't make me feel way better. I don't feel like the whole world is really getting behind this thing going away. I feel like people are just thinking it's going to magically going away. Well, we did have one person say that. I'm not pointing any fingers. Donald. Who said that? It's going to go away like magic. It's going to be like a miracle. No, I think he said miracle. He didn't say magic. All it takes is a few people that don't wear masks. Just let one person catch it from you, and there it goes. It's like a never-ending story. This worries me. Will this really be gone by the end of 2021? Will it be safe for us to walk into Madison Square Garden? I don't know that it will. Well, you know what, Stevie? I don't know either. Me and Louis Black got in a big conversation about that today because he wants to go back to work immediately. And I'm like, nah, I'm good for a little bit more time off. I'm enjoying myself. So I've got a movie out. Stevie Nicks 24 Karat Gold something. The concert. Yeah, it's a concert film. I saw it. It was pretty good if you're a Stevie person. If you're not, you're going to hate it. So that's it. Stevie's pissed. If you want to hear Landslide again, bitches, put on a mask. You want to hear Edge of 17? How about Dreams? Okay. Now, here's another update. I have a lot of updates today. Just because there's a lot of stuff flying around. This was the headline. This is where I get pissed at the media. Washed up debris on Australian beach could belong to missing Malaysian Flight 370. Parts from an aircraft have washed up on a remote Australian beach, raising the hopes that the debris could be from Flight 370, which vanished in 2014 with 239 people aboard, according to a report. Mike Cody, a fisherman who spotted the wreckage on Monday near Cape Tribulation in far north Queensland. Guess where I know either one of those places are? Nope. I know it's in Australia, but I couldn't put it on the map. He initially thought the part came from a boat's rudder or possibly a plane's trim, the Mirror reported. But then he discovered a wing-like structure nearby and posted his findings online in an aircraft maintenance engineering Facebook group. How specific is that? Wow. Facebook really has broken it down into whatever. The angler people said many people reached out to him about the possibilities that it came from the doomed Boeing 777. Working, and we know that Australia tried to help and they couldn't help find it. Despite the tantalizing discovery on the beach this week, aviation researcher Mick Gilbert told The Australian that the parts show nowhere enough near weathering and has relatively sparse barnacle growth and is almost certainly the wrong color. Well, fuck, then why do we have this headline? If this was already proven that it's not it, I mean, I don't know, is Mike the end-all of be-alls of what's proper? I think it would have some barnacles. I'm with Mike on that. He added, if it is indeed an aircraft component, it's more likely to be the piece of Air Niugini Flight 73 that landed short of the runway at Chuuk International Airport. Where's that? C-H-U-U-K. Chuuk. 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 Where are these places? There's a little update for all you, Malaysian. I know a lot of people sent that to me on Twitter, a version of that, if not that one. And I appreciate that because I don't see all this stuff. All I do is be on my phone day and night, and that would be completely annoying to myself. Update. This is a good one. Facebook just issued a massive QAnon ban. Now, just when we as a group started to understand it, they're going to ban it. I worked really hard to explain QAnon last week. As a new person myself that didn't know, I was trying to see what we could find out as a group. And what I basically gave you guys was a giant pile of crap that didn't make any sense. I know that, but that's all I could find out. Anyway, this is good. This is what I'm talking about, because this has always been my complaint about social media. Well, Zuckerberg, not normal people. But let's say you own a newspaper, and I'm the reporter, and I write a bunch of shit about you. Well, you can sue me for libel. But on Facebook, you can just write whatever the hell you want about anybody. And he says, well, we're not a news, we're a bulletin board. Whatever, dude. At some point, you got to be responsible because you're putting crazy shit out there, and people are losing their minds. Literally losing their minds. Over the past few years, the QAnon movement, a baseless conspiracy theory referring to a belief in I think I learned how to say it too, cabal of deep state leftist pedophiles. They also eat babies. These people forgot to put that, according to the other thing, they're baby eaters, has gained tremendous traction, and extremist researchers believe it's largely been due to social media platforms turning a blind eye to such content. Yes, this seems to be changing, however, now that Facebook announced in a press release on Tuesday it would be removing any Facebook pages, groups, and Instagram accounts representing QAnon, even if they contain no violent content. The announcement is an update of a policy rolled back out in August when Facebook announced it would be removing more than 1,500 pages and groups related to QAnon. That's got to be weird if you're one of those people and you're in that group and then you go to log on and all your friends left. For a minute, you probably think it isn't me. Did they ghost you, all of them, or was it removed? I don't know. I've never seen any of that, so I don't know if it says removed or they just leave you. It's like when your car gets towed. They don't even leave a note. You just got to figure that shit out on your own. The company said the initiative was to start a new set of measures designed to disrupt the ability of QAnon and militarized social movements to operate and organize on our platform. Yeah, that's what they've been doing. Mark Zuckerberg, as I like to call him. Its efforts, however, fell short, according to critics, with the New York Times reporting last month that 100 QAnon groups it was tracking had seen growth by more than 13,000 followers in the month following the implementation of the new policy. The explosive popularity of hashtag Save the Children, an anti-child trafficking movement that helped mainstream the QAnon community, has also contributed to its renewed popularity on social platforms. In the past, Twitter and TikTok have made cursory efforts to scrub QAnon believers from their platform, largely removing individual accounts or banning QAnon-associated hashtags. Facebook's most recent announcement represents one of the most sweeping actions taken by a platform to combat conspiracy theory. Facebook moves to ban groups, pages, and Instagram accounts that represent QAnon won't scrub the conspiracy theories that fuel the movement from the web, but the decision could force believers back to the more niche discussion boards where the movement began. And what did we learn last week? We know that. Discussion boards. 8chan, 4chan, whatever they were called. Who has the time? I'm unemployed right now and I don't have the time for that. Because if I was watching that, how would I be tracking hurricanes on the Weather Channel? If that's all I did was go on boards. Here's a little something I think is complete horse shit. Just unbelievable with the giant corporations. And I'll probably get in trouble for saying something about Disney because they own everything. They probably own my house. I don't even know it. They own, I think, ESPN. Do they? Paddles? Yeah. They do, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Evel Knievel's son. What? We're calling back my cousin by marriage, Mr. Knievel, who is no longer with us. That was so exciting when you were a kid. And they were like, guess what's going to happen this weekend? Evel Knievel. That's all I needed to hear. I don't even need to know what he's doing. I just know it's going to be spectacular. And he's probably, maybe, going to die. Because they weren't tricks. These were real. That's why he broke every bone in his body before he was dead. Evel Knievel's son, his son, I don't know, is his name Little Evil? We'll find out. Evil Jr. Evil Jr. By the way, people think it's evil like E-V-I-L. It's not. It's E-V-E-L. And if you're too young to know, he was a, quote, daredevil in the 70s, and he used to have specials when he would do crazy things. Dangerous stunts on his motorcycle. Evel Knievel's son is on a collision course with the Walt Disney Company and Pixar over a daredevil character named Duke Kaboom. Yep, wait for it. A federal trademark infringement lawsuit in Las Vegas accuses the movie company of improperly basing the new character in last year's Toy Story 4 on Knievel, whose famous stunts included motorcycle jumps over Caesar's Palace fountain in Las Vegas, and a row of buses at Wembley Stadium in London, and a rocket shot into the Snake River Canyon in Idaho. Las Vegas-based K&K Promotion accuses Disney-owned Pixar of intentionally modeling the Kaboom character, voiced by Keanu Reeves in the movie, which, can we just talk about? He's not a very good actor. He's cute and all that, but I saw him in that vampire thing one time, and I'm like, he can't even do a vampire without sounding like he's a skateboarding vampire. And then those don't exist. I don't think. Anyway, voiced by Keanu Reeves in the movie. After Knievel, although Knievel's name is never mentioned, his son, Kelly Knievel, head of K&K, has publicity rights to Evel Knievel's name ever since 1998, according to the Tuesday court filing in the U.S. District Court. He said Thursday that movie makers never sought to use permission of his father's likeness. Wait. Walt Disney in a statement said they're defending themselves. Oh, yeah, okay. So the Kaboom character, this is so blatant, is described by Disney Pixar's as a 1970s motorcycle riding toy based on Canada's greatest stuntman. What? You can't just make Evil Canadian and say they're not the same thing. No, especially as part of North America. Maybe if he was Guatemalan. I mean, you can't just go to Canada, which this kills me every time, this COVID crap, when people are like, if this goes on, I'm going to move to Canada. First of all, Americans, it's not a national forest. You can't just go up there and shit. It's a country. It has rules. And it's not their fault that Disney did this. Yeah, photos in the court filing put Kaboom side by side with Knievel, who became an American icon after his near-fatal 1967 Caesar's Palace crash. I'm going to go on. He has a kid. Oh, my God. The Kaboom's character, he's a daredevil clad in a white jumpsuit and a helmet with the Canadian insignia and a Duke Kaboom stunt cycle. because Evil had a white suit. They didn't even bother to change the jumpsuit. Yeah. Customers and film reviewers universally caught on to the connection. Well, I would have immediately, because I'm old enough to go, that's Evel Knievel. That's not Duke Kaboom. I'm throwing a penalty flag and calling horse shit on that. Speaking of penalty flags, I don't know if you guys... Duke Kaboom. I know. They're just not even creative. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw that Tom Brady didn't know he thought there were 4 downs left and there were only 3. And I immediately thought, well, he's in his 40s. That shit happens. You want to keep Tommy Salami as your quarterback? He's mine. He's on my fantasy team right here. Scored me 13 points. So they marketed the toy. Oh, and the Kaboom character became part of the fast food Happy Meal promotion. Everybody noticed. Everybody said something. And here's what Kelly Knievel had to say about that. Evel Knievel did not thrill millions of people around the world, break his bones, and spill his blood just so Disney could make a bunch of money. That's exactly right, Kelly Knievel. He was injured many times during 75 motorcycle jumps. He died in 2007 at age 69 in Florida of a lung disease, not in a car crash. In case you were wondering what happened to Evel. I mean, this is what's wrong with the big guys. How much money do you think there's left in the Evel Knievel fortune?
$5.
Paddle says $5. I say... Canadian. Now, that's Duke Kaboom's fortune.
Well.
Exactly. You're going to go screw that Kelly Knievel? People didn't get paid that much back then for crazy shit like that. They just didn't get a lot. They got enough to make them feel rich for an hour if you started up poor, because I would think it's a lot too. Okay. How many people watching this have watched my special on Netflix, Bothering Jesus? The only reason I'm plugging that is because I do a giant thing about noodling. It's a long joke for me, but it's all true. It's a long bit for me. I can't really do it right now. It would take too long, and I really honestly haven't done my act since March 17th, and I probably don't remember it correctly.
It'll be in your notes.
Oh, it'll be in my notes? How to go find it?
Yeah,
you can put a link to the noodling thing?
Yes.
Look at you, Paddles. You're a wonderful person.
Thank you.
You're welcome. A lot of people are yelling at you on the YouTube channel.
Tell Paddles to turn it down.
Well, you gotta speak louder.
I gotta speak louder. I'm not mumbling. I do mumble though. If you hear mumbling, that's not Paddles. That's just me being lazy. My dad's always said that ever since. Quit mumbling, for Christ's sake. And then he'd mumble. He'd mumble that. For Christ's sake. Here's why this is a great update. If you've seen my thing, noodling is also known as hillbilly hand fishing. It is not legal in the state of Missouri. It is legal in the state of Oklahoma. It's a giant thing. The whole thing never stops making me laugh. But here's your headline. 2 men charged with illegal noodling at Lake of the Ozarks. Which is what? Where my house is. Yes. I did not see these men, or I'd have started shit with them right there. No, I wouldn't have. I'd be terrified of the noodlers. I would not. I'd let them noodle, I'd watch, I'd take their pictures, and I wouldn't even turn them in. Noodling or hand fishing is a technique where poachers. Now, in some places, they're not poachers, they're fishermen. Reach their hands or hooks into catfish nests and drag the fish out. 2 Missouri men have been charged after using an illegal technique, only illegal in Missouri. That bad writer. So I'm not going to say who wrote it, but it's not illegal everywhere. That's the issue. To catch catfish in it. Agents with the Missouri Department of Conservation recently received information about a possible noodling case at the lake. Like a murder. Just like, there could have been. I'm not sure. There could have been. Noodling or hand fishing, I mean, we already said that. Removing the parent fish from the nest then kills the hundreds of eggs it was protecting. Now, I go into a whole thing about the pros and cons of noodling in the special via these people who have opinions on it. I never had an opinion on it, except I thought that's horrifying, because usually where they're putting their hands, there's probably going to be a ball of cottonmouths. Just saying. This is the best part of it, though. After investigating a tip, one of the suspects was identified in an interview. The man admitted to the hand fishing violations and identified a second person who was involved. He threw his friend down the river. I think, is this them? I don't know if this, well, maybe it's, yeah, they posted it on the facial book. Oh, guys. I don't know what trouble you can get into. They've been charged illegally taking game fish by hand and possession of illegally taken wildlife. I don't know how long you go. I didn't look that up. Usually I do that kind of homework for you guys because it'd be funny if you're in a cell next to a murderer. What'd you do? Killed my wife. What'd you do? Caught a catfish with my bare hand. If you want to report a hunting or fishing violation, I have a number for that. I'll put it in the notes. Okay, I thought this was interesting. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of comedians, not a lot, probably 20%, do comedy on cruise ships. And sometimes we tease them, and we call them boat comics. But some of these people are my very good friends. And, you know, I think it's a great way to see the world if you want to. I just don't like the ships. I've done it with Lewis. We did a comedy cruise. Me, him, and John Panette, and Vic Henley, and I think Dom Herrera. It was a good group. It was a lot of fun. For Proops, Greg Proops won. We all did one thing, so we had company. Because that's the other thing. If you go on a cruise ship as a comic, you're probably the only one, and then you have to make friends with like dancers and shit. And I don't think I'd be very popular at the crew bar. What am I gonna say to a bunch of dancing ladies from Belgium? I got nothing. I do like people to an extent, so I'd have to make friends. But anyway, some of my friends do these things all the time. And the cruise ship thing has taken it the hardest out of COVID because, well, obviously, you know, these things, I think that you're gonna get sick on them anyway. That's just my opinion. Don't sue me. Carnival. I even know the rankings of them, of how fancy they are. Have you ever heard of the cruise line Crystal? Yeah, because my friend Jim, he told me you have to have 2 tuxedos on Crystal. On Carnival, you just have to have flip-flops. That's how that works. You have to have 2 kinds of flip-flops. But they're dismantling them now. So this is so crazy to me because think about that. Like we had at my parents' house a broken wave runner, and we didn't really know what to do. And my one brother goes, "Fucking sink it." Well, we can't do that. We're not pigs. We're not going to do that. But just to get rid of it's a pain in the ass. You got to take it to a dump or whatever, or give it to somebody if they want parts. But think of the size of a cruise ship, and you go, "This one we're not using anymore." What do you do with it? Blow it up? Here's what you do with it. On the beach, this is a CNN article. Once gleaming vessels lie dilapidated, their innards exposed, barely recognizable from their seafaring glory days. These huge ships were previously the pride of cruising fleets, including Carnival Cruise Line. Now they're shells of their former selves. Beached at, that's gonna be hard to say, Alagaya shipyard in Turkey. Mid-demolition and ready to be sold for scrap. When a cruise ship decides it no longer needs the ship and no one wants to buy it, well, who would buy it? A shittier cruise line? Bob's Cruises? Who's buying a shitty cruise ship? That often means there's one final voyage to Turkey or similar ship-breaking yards such as Alang, India, or Gadini, near the Pakistan port of Karachi. Karachi! Business is up 30% in Turkey in the wake of the pandemic. They show the whole, and if you go online, just go look at this shipyard. It is crazy the way they've dismantled it. It's fascinating. And like they're still intact swimming pools, bright green onboard golf course, from an eerie contrast with the growing wreckage. On one ship, the famed Carnival Cruise Line red funnel is almost all that remains. Oh yeah, I see that. That's creepy. While cruising has tentatively restarted in Europe, no, they tried, but it didn't work. I don't know, maybe it worked again. New regulations are in place for a potential return to the United States. The industry faces an uncertain future. Hundreds of cruise ships that were sailing around the world earlier this year are largely laid up at sea with no passengers on board. There are many more vessels mid-construction commissioned to meet the demand characterized of the years of growth pre-2020, back when the $150 billion industry was booming. As a result, an excess of ships. So now they're retiring. And then this made me laugh because Ron's mom is 85. She called him and she goes, Ron, I found there's all kinds of really good deals on cruises right now. And I was thinking maybe you could take me to Alaska. And he's like, you know why that cruise ship is so cheap, Mother? Because you'll die on it. And I thought, well, he's probably not wrong. She's like, I'm not saying now. She's just as smart as him, if not smarter. Now, this was very exciting to my geeks out there, my Megalodon Sharks, my shark people. I follow quite a bit of, I follow a lot of Twitter accounts that are, you can follow Ozarks, and then they'll tell you certain sharks to follow. I follow Catherine, I follow Jeffrey. They name them all. And then you can follow how far they go and where they're at and all that stuff. 17-foot white shark caught off of Nova Scotia, declared 3,541-pound queen of the ocean. 17 feet. Now, I looked it up because I care about you guys. Because I don't want you to have to waste your precious time Googling. Do you know how long the shark was in Jaws? Anybody? Guess? Paddles?
12 feet.
12. Not paddles.
18?
No.
9.
No, 9 would be like a normal shark.
20.
25.
No. Great.
That's what they thought was a huge shark. Like an unbelievable shark. But as it turns out,
I've seen Jaws. I liked it.
it was great. Jaws was one of my favorite movies. That's why when people go,
You've never seen Star Trek?
nope. I've never seen, what's the other one? I have seen Star Trek, The Next Generation. I like that. I've never seen Star Wars, any of them. And when you say that in mixed company, it's like you just said, I shit my pants and I'm not wearing a diaper. People look horrified, curious, appalled, angry. It's not a good scene. I don't tell many people that, and I've just told all of you that. I have no desire to, but this is my defense. I have not watched Star Wars, ever. But I have seen Jaws 74 times. And I've seen Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, at least 20 each. I think that makes up for it. A 17-foot, 2-inch great white shark weighing an astonishing 3,500 pounds was captured Friday in the Northwest Atlantic by researchers with Ozarks. To put that in perspective, think about this. A Ford F-150 is 17 feet, 5 inches long. So it was as long as a Ford F-150. This is why my one brother has a house in Cape Cod and I don't get in the water. No, it's too cold. I mean, I understand this is no further north, but same shit. This shark, I don't know what they named it. I'll find out in a minute. She could be down in Cape Cod in an hour. That's how fast they swim. I made that up, but you know what I mean. She's more than 50 years old, which counts as the largest white shark. The nonprofit is tagged in Northwest Atlantic. It's also among the 12 biggest white sharks he has tagged off Africa and in the Pacific. She's a very old creature, a proper queen of the ocean and a matriarch. She has all the scars, healing wounds, and discolorations that tell a deep, rich story of her life going back years.
Why is she British?
I made that guy British. I don't know. They tag her. They'll put her back. Oh, they named her Nukumi. Nukumi. Pronounced no-goo-me.
Nukumi.
Which is also what I order from the Thai place. It's number 6. In honor of the legendary wise old grandmother figure of the Native American Mi'kmaq people. Mi'kmaq.
That's you.
Right, Mi'kmaq. According to a Facebook post, she's bigger than the average shark. Anyway, go online, Google that, look at the photo of it. It's just Oh, wow. She was full of multiple seals and was round and robust. She had a lot of scratches on her face from seals that were fighting with their claws while she was eating them. The seals were fighting for their lives to no avail. You got to go online. Look at that picture of that shark if you're a shark person. There's a Megalodon update, too. Tell me when you're bored of shark shit, and I'll stop. I'm not going to go deep into this one. I'm just going to let you know that cannibalism in the womb may have helped fearsome Megalodon sharks grow to 50 feet in length over 3.6 million years ago. I read this study, and I really don't understand what they're saying. Something about, I don't know, they eat their own babies. That's the bottom line. They think they did. I don't know why the other sharks didn't continue to do that if you get to be a Megalodon. Maybe there was some moral meeting, and they said, you know what, we got to stop eating our own kids. Who wants to stop first? How about you, Nugumi? So there you go. That's why they got so big. Google that if you're interested. Last shark update. I don't know why there are so many this week, because I have Google shark. An albino shark was caught. Jason Gillespie, 50 years old, with deep sea fishing with some friends near the Isle of Wight. When he caught a tope, T-O-P-E, tope shark that was entirely white. There's a picture over the internet. You got to see it. It's freakish. Measured around 3 feet. It's genetic condition, which means it's leucistic, which means it's lost its pigment. Under normal circumstances, he would have released it, but he took a picture because he's been fishing for his whole life and he's never seen one and he's never caught one. And this is the biggest one that's ever been caught in photographs. So he's got to be kind of proud about that. There was a couple tiny ones that people have caught because they usually don't live that long. It also has crazy blue eyes, which is really something to see. So you should get on that. That's your shark update. Yeah? Pals likes it. Now, we're going to revisit a little bit of news from my hometown city of St. Louis. I'm not trying to get into politics here, just the news, if it fits. I like the stupid, lighter, silly news, but this does involve my hometown. So how many people saw the couple in St. Louis that when Black Lives Matter walked past their home, they shit the bed and ran in the house and got weapons? Now, granted, I know this area where they live, and they're humongous houses. It's usually people that don't have kids and stuff because the schooling is weird, and they do border some neighborhoods that would be considered dangerous. They're close to the city. The homes are beautiful. Think the movie Meet Me in St. Louis. One of those houses was used as a set for that, and the shots of Forest Park Parkway. So they privatize their streets. I've always thought that was bullshit. I don't even know how you get away with that. But they block one end with like cement shit, and then they drive in their gate. Well, anyway, the Black Lives Matter people somehow got through the gate, which they probably shouldn't have done. I agree with that. But there's no reason to panic. There's just people out walking outside. But the picture of the two people, the McClowskis, they're like mid-50s, I'm guessing, chubby. At one point, they're pointing their guns at one another. Now, if you've ever attended a gun safety class, that would probably be in the first 15 minutes. No, I think it would be the first thing said. We're not pointing guns at people. Okay? That's the deal. I'll never forget at the Lake of the Ozarks when my brother went to go take his, to get his hunting license. You got to take this test. They had a sign up in the place that said readers, and there was an arrow to the left, non-readers, arrow to the right. Now the irony is the non-readers couldn't read the sign. Everybody sees that joke coming, but that's true. It's not a joke. It was true that if you couldn't read in the Lake of the Ozarks, you could take it verbally. I was like, oh my God, where do we live? Anyway, so these two people were brandishing firearms, and she was trying to act all tough, but that's hard to do when you have a giant mustard stain on your shirt from Chico's. You guys know what Chico's is? I've banned my mother from going in there. I call it Garanimals for older ladies. Every piece of clothing in there that I've ever seen anyway has a dot on it, a colored dot. So say it's purple. Then if you go pick up other pieces of clothing, you want more purple dots, and then you have an outfit. Now tell me how that's not for animals. But anyway, some people enjoy Chico's. Seems to be very popular. Seems to still be open. Her shirt looked like it was from Chico's. And he's pudgy, and his khakis were too tight. And they just looked ridiculous holding these weapons. And the people in the Black Lives Matter thing were not doing anything except walking. Nobody was on their property. Instead of just walking out and going, hey, could you not get in the grass? Please don't step on my yard. They go and get, 17,000 pieces. Mark and Patricia, they're both lawyers too. And apparently they're sue happy. All they do is sue people. Like if you go Google all this shit, they just sue everybody. They don't sound fun. And I saw pictures of the inside of the house. Think Dynasty, that show. Think that. Mark and Patricia, just terrible. Mark and Patricia McCloskey altered the pistol she pointed at protesters during a now infamous confrontation in the Central West End home to impair and obstruct her prosecution. Prosecutors alleged in court documents obtained exclusively by 5 on your side. Prosecutors, Circuit Court Attorney Kim Gardner's office made the allegation against the couple in the grand jury indictments. Well, I'm going to get to it, but what they're saying is that the gun was altered, so it didn't really work, so therefore you can't be indicted. Prosecutors allege Mark and Patricia altered a Brico armed semi-automatic pistol with the purpose to impair its verity in the investigation of an unlawful use of a weapon that occurred on June 28th on Portland Place. By the way, these houses are so fancy. They only have one number. Where do you live? 6 Madigan Place. Oh, how fancy. So, Patricia McCloskey's pistol has been a source of controversy surrounding evidence in this case. Missouri law requires prosecutors to prove the gun was operable and readily capable of lethal use when it was used during the commission of an alleged crime, because they've been indicted for pointing guns at people that weren't doing that to them. So that works. But our Missouri governor, who's out of commission right now with COVID, because he doesn't like masks either, he already said he's going to pardon these people no matter what. So this is all kind of nonsense. But they are attorneys. Yes, they're the ones I was saying. They've sued everybody over crazy shit. Google that. They told the police, the McCloskeys told the police that the pistol was inoperable. Well, what about the gun he had? They don't even mention that. When officers seized it because Patricia McCloskey had used it as a prop at a trial against the gun manufacturer. Crime lab workers wrote that the gun was inoperable when it arrived at the lab, and Gardner's assistant circuit attorney Chris Hinckley ordered them to fix the gun so it could fire. What? McCloskey's attorney said, the only entity that can be proven to have tampered with the evidence is the state. So they're saying the state said make it work so they could shoot it, I guess. I don't know why they'd want to do that. They've become a household, these people have become a household names ever since photos and videos of them during a June 28th conference. You would have thought there were tanks coming down the street. I mean, the level of panic, if you have that level of panic, if you see people walking down the street, you shouldn't live in this neighborhood. You should live in a gated community far out where there's deer, because there's going to be people around here because it's the city. They've been charged with the unlawful use of a weapon, felonies, and this was presented to a grand jury. The grand jury indicted the McCloskeys on the weapons charge, but added tampering with evidence, another felony. Tuesday, after determining prosecutors have enough evidence on both charges to proceed with a trial. Both charges are E-class felonies, at least the least serious felony classification, but are punishable by up to 4 years in prison. Well, she's not going to like prison. Do they have mustard in prison? I don't know. She's not going. The governor already said he's not going to punish him. And then the McCloskeys mouthed off about some stuff, but there you have it. That's what's going on with the St. Louis attorney people with their guns. Such panic. I mean, there's just people walking down the street. Go out, give them lemonade, talk to them, say hi. They didn't go in your yard. Not that I could see. On every video I saw, I never saw anybody jump a wall, nothing. They just didn't like that they were on their private street. And it's not just their private street, there's plenty of homes on that street. Anyway, so what did I watch? Well, I watched another episode of The Vow. I think you guys should watch that. It's pretty interesting. And it's not like I'm a cult freak. It's just that's what's on lately on Netflix. And that's on HBO, I think, though. HBO. And now I want to read the book the mom wrote, who's a famous actress. And I recognized her right away, but I couldn't remember why. I think she was in Dynasty. And I keep wanting to say Catherine Deneuve, but it's probably not her. I don't know. It's Catherine somebody. Paddles. Who is it? She wrote a book called Captive because her kid was in this cult. And now I want to read the book. Oxenberg. Yes, she's very fancy. Her mother's like royalty somewhere because the mom, Catherine calls her mother and says, do you think there's any way you could speak to Charles about this? And then the documentary goes, who's Charles? Prince Charles. Oh, well, of course. Don't we all have our mom, don't they all have Prince Charles? To talk about the Dalai Lama. But anyway, go watch The Vow. And then I watched, it's a documentary about Studio 54.
I think it's Netflix.
Was it Netflix?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Netflix. Mm-hmm. I am too young to remember what the hoopla was, and it's not very often I can say that. I'm far too young to know anything about that. But I really didn't know. So if you don't know about it, it's an awesome documentary. If you do know about it, you probably still learn a few things. And it's cool anyway, because just to see all the clips of the people, it's like Michael Jackson when he's like, I don't know, 19, and he's got a big afro, and his voice is a little bit deeper. They interview him. There's just all these throwback things. But the two owners of it, Ian Schrager went on to build all these famous hotels, but a lot of people don't know that they ended up in jail, and they went to jail together because they were doing so much blow and selling drugs and the whole place. As soon as I see that much cash anywhere, somebody's going to jail. That's what I know. That's what I've learned from comedy clubs and bars. Cash out of control, somebody's going to be in the trouble box. And this thing does a great job of showing you. The one guy ended up dying of AIDS, and then the other guy went on, and he's made this a whole enormous hotel chain that I even ended up staying in some on the road. I don't know. They're all very fancy, very nice. So there you go. I really want to talk about these guys from Michigan that were going to capture and kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan. I understand that capturing and kidnapping a lady is not funny. Let me just state that before I tell you things that I thought were funny within that. It doesn't mean that I think it'd be funny if she'd be harmed or anything like that. But it's when dumb shits try to commit major crimes. I'm on board when dumb shits say, let's rob 7-Eleven. I mean, I'm not saying you should do that, obviously, but I get the thinking. They're like, there's money there. I know there is because I bought cigs there. I could get my own money back. I understand the logic. I do not understand it when they go to like mob level and they're just not smart enough for this. I mean, if you're going to kidnap somebody and you need to be in the mob, or you need to be willing to throw them into a wood chipper because that's what the mob's going to do. And they never think it through. That's what makes me laugh. Like they go, we're going to get her. And then nobody goes, and then what? Now we've got this lady with this Michigan accent, which I like it when she talks. This is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, there's just some details because I know a lot of you are still working and have jobs. And it's 13 guys. More than a dozen arrested on federal and state charges in connection. And I saw their compound. You can go online and look at their compound. It's basically a broken Winnebago, a shitty truck, some Confederate flags, kind of a mobile home type thing where I'm sure they have birthday parties for Hitler. It's all the shit you see on those KKK and the same white supremacist crap. Nobody has any money. Somebody's got cigs, maybe some beer. It's just not a winner situation out of the gate. And just listen to some of the details of this, because I just was like, this poor lady, Gretchen, goes, when I put my hand on the Bible and took the oath of office 22 months ago, I knew this job would be hard. But I'll be honest, I never could have imagined anything like this. No shit. You know, you go to be governor, you think you're probably doing a nice thing on some level. I wouldn't want that job. And then you've got, 13 Wolverine somethings, whatever they call themselves, running out of trailers with ideas on kidnapping you. And then killing her, I guess. But they never say that. They never get to that part. She thanked everybody. First of all, they use social media to talk to one another. How many times are we going to have to tell dumb people, don't use the facial book if you'd like this to be a secret? How many times? You should have communicated through TikTok with dance moves. Something. They didn't even try. Well, they tried encrypted messaging to communicate. Some of them did. They were going to go. They had surveillance on her vacation home, and they detonated an improvised explosive device wrapped. Oh, no, they had that coordinated with shrapnel. So they were going to try to detonate something, I guess, to get her Secret Service distracted, and then they were going to go get her. Based on the court documents, the FBI was well aware of the charges of 6 men. There does not have to seem to be an imminent threat posed to Whitman at the time. In a meeting in July, allegedly attended and recorded by one of the informants, the men discussed attacking a Michigan State Police facility, and in a separate conversation at the meeting, they suggested shooting up the governor's vacation home. That's where you got to raise your hand if you're in the trailer meeting. And they weren't, you know where they went? They went to a vacuum store. Can somebody explain to me where you even find a vacuum store? I don't know. The vacuums aren't that expensive anymore. I just figured when it's broken, it's done. Right? I got to go to Target and get a new fucking vacuum. I don't go, maybe there's a and then anyway, in this vacuum store, they had a magic carpet, and underneath that was a trap door, and you went down there for your meeting. That's where they're meeting. As soon as I hear go to the vacuum store, I'm not attending. Nope. I don't trust that. Fox said that after kidnapping the governor, the group would remove her to a secure location in Wisconsin for trial. So they're going to extradite her. They're going to extradite her. Why to Wisconsin? Why can't she stand trial in Michigan in the vacuum shop? Why can't she stand trial in Michigan in your, you know what it looked like? I see them all the time on the road when it's being pulled behind a truck at the camper deal, the Cougar. It looked like the Cougar or the Phaeton. Have you ever seen the Phaeton on the road? Lots of those. Oh. Then they have videos where they describe a 30-minute diatribe that the enemy is the government. He shot the video in front of an anarchist flag and a map of Michigan. He had a T-shirt on that said, "Fuck the government." That's effective, right? They put tons of it on YouTube. Because you know what the government can't do? Find shit on YouTube. At the level, this is why mob movies, you go, wow, that's pretty smart. I mean, it wasn't a good thing. I'm not agreeing with it, but they did a good job of covering their asses. And these people don't have the first clue. First of all, there's way too many people involved. My dad will tell you, as a lawyer, when you commit a crime, the first person you include, you've now increased your chances 50% of getting caught. Now do that by 13. I can't do that math, as you all know, but that's just terrible. They're linked to the Wolverine Watchmen. Now, see, that sounds like a hunting group, but of Wolverines, not of people. They sought to instigate a civil war. They're in the North. You already won. You want to do it again? How fucking dumb. You're in Michigan. I'm not saying it would be right, but if I had 5 guys in a trailer in the South somewhere going, we need to do that again, I'd go, well, you did lose. You got your ass kicked. You want to go another round? Cletus? Fire it up. But you're on the... And I heard them talk. I heard the videos. They are not Southern. Their accents are 1,000% northern state. The northern states, Michigan, Wisconsin, up there. They wanted a civil war, and they had engaged in planning and trading for an operation to attack the Capitol building of Michigan to kidnap government officials, including the governor. Okay, could we talk about back in the beginning of COVID when these people, and some of them they have them on video, were in the state capitol? How is that happening in Michigan? In Missouri, you can't go in the state capitol with firearms. Even since I've been a kid, because I would go with my dad sometimes, they had, the shitty X-ray things, even when I was little. I cannot believe that the state capitol allowed that. When I saw that on TV, it was like, wow, are you not afraid that they're going to start shooting from up in that balcony? Because that'd be the day I quit whatever job I had there. Bye-bye, chicken pie. I'm going to work at Cabela's. They've all been charged with providing material and support for possessing firearms and commission. I already did that. The Wolverine Watchman ideology differs from a conventional militia group. The official said this group believes in the Boogaloo movement, a term that refers to an impending civil war. The Boogaloo is also described as an anti-government movement that advocates for a violent uprising targeting liberal political opponents and law enforcement. So they want the cops too. They're not pro-cop. They're coming after them too. Oh my God. They got real mad at her because of COVID. We all know that. But there's more detail, and I was pretty good at weeding out the crap. And then I found all the social media accounts were scoured, and that's where there's one guy, he's got fuck the government on, and then he's got this giant gun. I don't know what it is, some sort of machine gun, or I don't know, my dad would go, that's not what they're called. Well, Dad, I don't know. This guy's name is Pete Musico. He's 42. He's the alleged founder of the Wolverine Watchman. And he's screaming into the YouTube video, when are you going to say enough is enough? He said, when are you going to see they're coming for us, they're robbing us, wanting us to be like Venezuela? Why do people always use Venezuela? I mean, I know it's got problems. But what about Guatemala? How about Ecuador? Nothing that bad? I don't know. These politicians keep robbing us and putting you against me, and when we're facing this guy, Pete Musico, his Twitter account, he has 87 followers. Well, let me tell you this, Pete. If you're going to try to start a new civil war, one that you already won, but all right, you want to do it again, you're going to need more than 87 people. Then he tweets a lot, but he doesn't know how to tweet. He writes like, hashtag Hillary Clinton. You need to be in jail and prison for the arms smuggled in Benghazi for backing ISIS. Okay, when you hashtag her, it ain't going to go to her. You got to go .at. I'm only helping these people because they are in jail. But I'm not helping them. I'm just saying this is what. Then he wrote, hashtag let it trip. People lived longer without vacins. He meant vaccines. He put V-A-C-I-N-S. And I spell like shit. I'm not making fun of people who can't spell. I can't. But if I'm going to put something serious, I Google it. Oh my God. He's going to sue the federal government for his wife's health insurance. So you do want to be some form of socialism. You want the government to pay for that. He's real mad. He has to wear a seatbelt. I'm forced to wear a seatbelt in a fully protected automobile that I bought, and they can take it away from me? It's bullshit. I mean, here's the other thing, people. This is another thing I feel about these random groups of, let's just call them terrorists. You need to focus your thing. Are you mad at Hillary? About Benghazi and vaccines? You mad at the vaccine people? The VACIN people? Are you mad at Ralph Nader? Because he had a lot to do with that seatbelt thing. He says Bill Gates is going to make us all wear a bracelet. I hope it's an Irish one. I hope it has a little Ogham stone on it. Maybe it's a History of Ireland bracelet, and I can get that little knight guy that I like on there. The police are not your friend. That's what he says. I want you to know something because I'm not stupid. These people are pushing for hostility to break out. Okay, you're the one on your, quote, private property blowing shit up. Not us. We're all supposed to wake up. We're a society. We as a society are morally corrupt. Then he's mad about cars. Some of the best vehicles I ever owned were early 90s, pre-NAFTA, built to last. Now, my dad would probably agree with this part of the meeting. He was not a NAFTA guy. My dad's really still very upset about NAFTA. But I'm going to disagree about the cars because I have a 2007 Mercury Mariner. Greatest vehicle I've ever owned. Still going. That's all you need to know about that. It's brown. I like it. Chocolate. And I mean, I'm not going to get into politics, but he's a Trump guy, but it wouldn't even matter. I mean, there's pictures of the property online. There's also a dumpster with just shit in it. And then behind it, you see a Confederate flag. And some weird, I don't know, there's another flag. I don't know what it is. They always have strange flags. I notice that whenever I'm driving around the country in back-ass woods. One time I drove from, I think it was Tampa to Pensacola on back roads just to see what was out there. Shoo, buddy, as Ron White would say. This was in Lansing, Michigan, by the way. 40 minutes south of Lansing. Because I've been to Lansing. It didn't seem like all this would be going on. Then there's a picture of a lady who would be the woman that would be like my mom. Her name is Pam Karshnock. She lives next door to their compound. And she told her husband that she was going to go over there and say something about all that racket. And that would be my mother. And then my dad would go, Vicky, you're not going over there to confront these people. It's what they want. And you're going to get your goddamn head blown off. And then she'd go, Jack, you always say things like that. Anyway, this lady was going to go do that. And her husband said, no, sweetness. That's why people move 40 miles south of Lansing, for privacy. He called it the country. I don't know. He lives there. Maybe it is. This is how they describe the compound. Wow, there is just shit everywhere. There's like a barbecue pit that fell over. They probably had a party for Hitler's birthday. It's always a party for Hitler's birthday every time I turn on some white supremacist or KKK thing. Run down seeming compound with its Confederate flags and trash strewn amongst toys was the alleged scene of the training camp. She was going to confront them. What? I don't know how long let's assume these people will get convicted. I don't even know how long. How long do you go to prison? I didn't Google it for trying to kidnap a governor. And then they're going to take her to Wisconsin, extradite her. I like to use legal words like they would be doing something legal. Obviously, it's clearly all illegal. And then you're going to have a trial for Gretchen. She's not going to get an attorney. I can guarantee you that. Then what do you do if she's guilty? Have you guys thought about that? The answer is no, I'm sure they haven't. Now, this is the last one I'm going to leave you guys with. It's not really a mystery, but I thought it was interesting. And I don't know why this popped up. Well, obviously, because there's algorithms, and this computer knows I'm a freak. And it just sends me freakish shit all day. My dad thinks it can hear us. And then he goes, watch it. I'll prove that it's listening. I said, okay. Holster. What? He just starts screaming holster at the computer. I said, what are you doing? Give it an hour. You're going to get ads for holsters. And I did give it an hour, and I didn't. But I did the following day. Just saying. Maybe the old people are right. This is kind of a modern day mystery, I'd say. Not really mystery, but there's four virtually uncontacted tribes that live outside, that the outside world knows almost nothing about. So this is crazy. By most estimates, there are more than 100 uncontacted tribes of the indigenous people around the world. While relatively small, they're whole communities that know little to nothing of invention of the automobile or the radio, let alone the internet. They roam largely inside the vast Amazon rainforest, nude or close to it, hunting and gathering in order to survive. Now see, this is why whoever owns all the Amazon rainforest, when everybody's down there cutting shit down, I would say, you know what? I would hold the world hostage. I would do it in Africa too with the animals, because they let the people hunt because they need the money, but that's bullshit money. You got to think big. Where are most of the animals in Africa? I don't know. Kenya? Where are they? I don't know. No, Zambia? Zimbabwe? I don't know. Who's ever got the most animals? I'd say if the world doesn't send us a check for $50 billion, I'm killing them all tomorrow. No, that's how you're going to get the money, and then you don't have to kill them anymore. See, it's the same with the rainforest. If you don't give us money, the whole world wants that all to exist, but they don't want to do anything to help the locals. So the locals need to just bribe the world. Amazon rainforest, you like it? We're going to need $100 billion, because otherwise, you know what I have? Matches and a can of gas. Boom. It's the way to help the local economy, and we also keep nature intact, and nobody gets hurt. Anyway, here's the uncontacted tribes. The Sentinelese. They live in the North Sentinel Island in the Indian Ocean. How freaky is this? We call them that because we have no idea what they call themselves. The tribe has developed no agriculture and still relies on hunting and gathering as most humans did some 10,000 years ago. And although they seem to want the Sentinelese seem to want absolutely nothing to do with any of us, they've expressed as much by barraging anyone and anything that ever got close to them with spears and arrows. Marco Polo wrote in one of his journals, "They are a most violent and cruel generation who seem to eat everybody they catch." Now the tribe's purported cannibalism has not been proven, but the reason why we can't prove it is also pretty disturbing. Right, because you won't come back. Do you want to gamble on that? 50-50 they'll eat me? No, leave them alone. In 2006, an Indian fisherman, Sundar Raj and Pandit Tiwari, found their boat in Sentinelese territory. Unfortunately, they didn't live to tell about it. But others in the boat who witnessed the two fishermen's murders said the tribal warriors who attacked were nearly naked and wielded axes. Oh my God! Helicopters sent to investigate hovered over the island, and the whirling blades moved enough stand to uncover the fishermen's machete-marred bodies in shallow graves. The Sentinelese saw the helicopter and immediately began attacking it too. Message received, loud and clear. So there's some people, they might know about Malaysian Flight 370. They're in the Indian Ocean. That's where we think it went down. Probably washed up there. They should hold that as hostage too. You freaks want your plane back? Going to need $20 billion in a new island. Next tribe, the Kowari. No, Korowai. I don't know. I can't read. That's what happens when you don't pay attention. They have somewhat splayed feet. This helps them climb trees where their homes are located.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is cool, Paddles. If you want to live in a treehouse, but it's probably the safest. That's why they do it. Because I know for a fact from watching Alone, you don't want to live on the ground if you don't have to. Only since the 1970s has the modern world known about the Kowari jungle tree dwellers of southeastern Papua New Guinea. That number between 3,000 and 4,000 people, being one of the world's larger uncontacted tribes. They're one of the last uncontacted tribes, well, virtually uncontacted, thought to practice cannibalism or to have recently practiced it in the past. Kowari tradition states that there are witches called Kakua that take over men's bodies and can only be expelled by killing the man and eating him. However, the incentives of cannibalism may now be waning due to a tribal ambivalence and outsider intervention. I love that the tribe became ambivalent too. Should we eat him? Nah, I don't care. Well, he's a witch. Not really. Let's not eat him. It's too much trouble. You know how hard it is to do that? Probably doesn't taste very good. Paul Raffaelli, a journalist who traveled to New Guinea to speak with and observe the tribe, says a Kawari named Boaz told him the following. I asked Boaz whether Kawari eat people for any other reason or eat the bodies of enemies they've killed in battle. Of course not, he replies, giving me a funny look. We don't eat humans. We only eat kakua, witches. Hello? The death rate among them is very high. They have no medicines to heal battle wounds or to protect against disease. It's rare for a member of the tribe to live past middle age. They know very little about ailments and germs. So mysterious deaths are often attributed to the kakua. Yeah, they're just going to blame some old fart sitting in his tent. He's a witch. Let's eat him. There's two more. The Mashco Piro are nomads of a remote area of the Amazon rainforest in southeastern Peru near the Brazilian border. Their estimated population is close to 800. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. That number used to be much greater, but in 1894, the rubber industry kingpins Carlos Fermin Fitzgerald hired a private army to slaughter them so he could presumably gain access to the rubber trees. What? I mean, who does that? Who wants money that badly? Today, the tribes live in a community of raised wooden homes within the Amazon's forested area. They make good use of the bamboo trees, using the long reeds to make spears and fermenting fruit in its pods to make alcohol. There's my tribe! Let's get our priorities straight, bitches. Who's going to make alcohol this week? Have we figured it out? They also appear to know more about us than we do about them. This is likely due to the contact with other settled indigenous people in the area. Some say they've been offered Mashco women and babies in return for tools, clothing, and food. Yeah, but see, now I don't want to be part of your tribe. If I can be traded for a rake, no. Even if you have alcohol, no. You can't trade me for tools. Clothing. If you give me a good t-shirt, you can have Kathleen. What? A food shortage could explain this behavior and increase visibility of the Mashu Piro as of late, appearing near major waterways around Manu National Park. Their exploration into this area is a cause of concern in terms of the safety of others. The tribe is known to attack and kill if they perceive someone as a threat. Despite this fact, tourists on sketchy, non-government regulated safari tours have been photographed with them. Okay. You know, there's a lot of dumb shits, like in Yosemite and stuff. Or as Trumpy says it, Yosemite. They get pictures with bears, and you shouldn't be doing it. But, you know, a person from the rainforest with a spear? No. Here's our last tribe. The Flecheros, commonly known as the Arrow people. Isolated tribe from an area of Brazil called the Yavari Valley. So little is known about them that we even have no idea what language they speak or what their ethnicity is. You should see their picture. They paint their bodies this crazy red. They look extremely threatening. I like the red, though. It's a power color. What we do know is they have great skills with bow and arrows, and they will launch poison arrows! Shoot your poison arrow. Remember that song? For encroaching on their land. Journalist Scott. One of these tribes, by the way, just recently, some Christian outreach guy got in a canoe and went out there and arrows everywhere, gone, dead. You know, you're trying to convert them. I think probably not the best idea. This guy, journalist Scott Wallace, hoping to protect the Flecheros and the resource-rich land in which they live from commercial interests, journeyed into virgin Brazilian territory in 2002. His goal was to obtain proof of the tribe's overall health and safety so he could further fight for their protection. While on this expedition, Wallace's team had to leave a safe distance between themselves and the Arrow people. Otherwise, they could spread germs to the natives that had no immunity to or end up dead themselves. The team uncovered low-lying huts and perfectly formed bowls before they ascertained the health of the tribe and got the heck out of the Amazon. However, the Brazilian government has since slashed the budget to the agency charged with protecting the Amazon's uncontacted tribes and indigenous people. Just recently, a group mining illegally in the area confessed to killing and dismembering a group of about 10 of the Arrow people and stealing their jewelry and tools. I mean, Fuck you. That's it. It's kind of crazy, isn't it, though? That there's, let's see, that was like 4,000 in one tribe, 800, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 10,000 people out there that we know of that know nothing about they don't know anything about Madigan's Pubcast, I'll tell you that. They don't know anything about any of this, which is probably, might even be better off out there. Okay, termites. That's it, really. Till next week. My fantasy football team is falling apart because I have some Titans. They're all sick because they were bad and they broke protocol. I don't know what's going to happen there. I got to do a lot of work on that. And I guess that's it. I'm going to blow out these candles and I'm going to tell you guys night-night termite. Thanks. Subscribe. Tell your friends. Like I said, on iTunes, they have a list of new shows and I'm on it. And there's a couple people I'd like to beat. I'd like to just zoom right past them. Not going to mention any names. One's a man, one's a woman. Yep, I said it. No one can figure it out. That's it. All right, you guys have a good week. Have fun in the weekend. And my parents are coming over here. So I'll have a lot to tell you about that, I'm sure. And that's all I got. All right, we will see you guys next Tuesday. That's it. The pub is still open for me, but it's closed for you. Sad times.